Are you mature? Let's talk about that. And then I want to talk about tadpoles. And then I want to talk about rocks. And then chicken wings. But first, a story. It was a cold December 25th. I don't know what year it was, but my parents bought me a snowboard for Christmas. And I remember coming out of my room, seeing that snowboard. It was wrapped up, and you can only really wrap a snowboard in so many ways for it not to look like a snowboard, so I instantly knew what it was. And I was so excited to take that outside. We lived on a hill, so I could use that gift basically anytime I wanted. And I remember getting outside, strapping it onto my feet, and getting ready to go down the hill. And I think that day I probably went a total distance of about 2 feet. And like every time I would stand up, I would unintentionally sit back down. And what I realized in that moment was that just receiving the gift of a snowboard did not make me a snowboarder. And in that moment, I realized that, but now looking back at it, it makes me think about this idea that just receiving gifts does not instantaneously create the character level inside of us for that gift to become something that benefits our lives and the lives of those around us. Another Christmas, I received a superhero video game. Now, what is your favorite superhero? Thor? Mine too. But have you ever thought about what makes a superhero different than a supervillain? Now, I know it might seem obvious, one is good, one is evil, but what is it that causes us to admire superheroes? One of the things that causes us to look up to them is this idea that we're all looking for somebody who is safe. We're looking for somebody who can create a safe place for us to live in. And character is one of those things that allows the giftings, the talents, those super skills to create safety for ourselves and for others. And mature people are safe. Which leads me to tadpoles. You see, there's a natural progression in the life of a tadpole. As it moves from a tadpole to a frog, it has specific stages of its growth and its maturity. And if I was to take a tadpole out of the water and place it in the environment of a frog on land, eventually it would actually be caused harm. And for you and I, there's this invitation to realize we need to personally develop ourselves, to grow and mature, so that regardless of the environment that we find ourselves in, that we've developed things inside of us that allow us to continue to not only survive, but to thrive in whatever environment we are in. Because our internal world is mature enough for our external environment. Which leads me to rocks. Now Matthew 7:24 says, "Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundations on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, and the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." And it's interesting, I don't know if you noticed this, but the rain fell on both houses. The waves came and crashed against both houses. And in this parable, Jesus highlights this idea that the environment may be similar for different people. What allows our house to continue to stand, regardless of our external environment, is the foundation that we are building our lives on. This deep-rooted maturity and character, what we're building in our internal environment, the things that maybe are not seen. If grade school science taught us anything about rocks, it was that they have a cycle. Now, rocks go through things like erosion and melting and cooling, or deposition and transport. And now maybe you and I, we find ourselves in seasons that are like that. are moments where we feel like we are under immense pressure, where we feel like things are always on the move or fast paced. There's always transport happening, or maybe we find ourselves in a place where we feel eroded, that things have been taken out of our lives. But what allows us to stay the course is this deep foundation of character and maturity, this deep personal growth. Mature people are solid. Mature people are steadfast. Now, a little bit about chicken wings. There are two camps in the chicken wing world, and I am here to settle the debate today. Please keep your hate mail to yourself. All right, so there are those who are for the original classic, and there are those who are for the new and improved, amazing boneless bites. All right, now regardless of the sauce, as you probably can tell, I am a fan of the boneless bites. And one of the reasons I am a fan of those boneless bites is because you can eat them without getting messy if you want. You can use a fork and a knife. You don't have to worry about dealing with a bone. You can eat probably a lot and too many of them in a short period of time, which suits the way that I like to eat. But I understand that when I choose to eat boneless bites, I am actually choosing to eat a less tasty chicken wing. Because the original, the classic, the chicken wing that has a bone is more flavorful. It has a richer flavor. And in that moment, I am choosing ease and a less tasty chicken wing over something that might take more work to eat, but it will be more flavorful. And I actually have to ask myself the question, in life, am I wanting to choose maybe a less level of maturity, a less level of character that is easier? Or am I willing to put the work in? Am I willing to do what it takes to have a more full and rich maturity in my life? A more full and rich level of character in my life? Because we're all going to go through things. We're going to be met with obstacles sometimes, or maybe we'll find ourselves in environments where we feel the rain and the wind and the waves are crashing up against us. And in those moments, we actually have to ask ourselves, who is writing our story? Am I writing my story, or am I allowing my story to write me? Because the writer of the story has certain abilities that others do not. The writer of the story gets to choose, how does the character respond to plot twists and to adversity? How does the character develop throughout the story? And if I allow the story to write me, I will always be subject to what is going on around me. I will always be subject to the environment that I'm in. My maturity and my character level will be only able to develop to a certain point. But when I take back the power of my story, when I choose that I will write my story, I actually say that I am taking back the power of developing maturity in my life, of developing character, a high level of character in my life. Because mature people are safe. Mature people are steadfast and solid. And mature people are willing to put the work in. We're willing to choose that we will set aside ease and a less full level of maturity and character for a more rich level of character, even if it costs something. So let me ask you today, are you mature?